What's up everyone, welcome to another video. This is Sunny from personalmasteryquest.com, and today I want to vividly explain to you how you design your own layer of your own world. So just like my last video, I drew up a very simple diagram, this beautiful drawing right here, which will help you understand this concept much better. So right here you have the world, right? On top of the world you see these lines, and these lines represent the individual layer of every single living organism. Every single living organism has their own individual layer of the world. Your layer is your perception. So it is formed from the thoughts that you think, the emotions that you feel, the actions that you take, and just what you believe to be possible for you. Your layer is how you experience reality, how you experience the world. And so take for example a chicken, right? A chicken lives in the same world but experiences the world much differently than we do. The layer largely depends on your level of conscious awareness, but you have the ability to transform your layer if you raise your awareness, if you change your beliefs, if you change the emotions that you are feeling from day to day. Your layer is always changing. It's a continual process of evolution. So again, it's the same world. We all experience the same world, which is indifferent, which is balanced, but we experience it through our perception. Our perception forms a layer which enables us all to experience reality in a different way than one another. So your layer has its own type of energy, and within your layer, the world might behave completely different than it does in somebody else's layer. We all know a person who is very negative, who is very, who just comes around and always is talking about how things are just not going right in their life, is always complaining about what is happening in the world, in the government and whatnot. So just say this is your layer, right? And this is another person, different person's layer. And that person comes to you, may just say at work, and starts talking and complaining about how life sucks and this and that. That person lives in a very different layer than you. And that person's layer has a very different type of energy, and they experience the world in a very different manner than you. Their layer can't affect your layer unless you allow it to. So just say that person comes up to you at work, starts talking to you, and you start feeding that person with your energy, right? You are really engaged in that conversation. You are feeling bad for the person, how bad things always happen to them. What you are doing is now you are kind of vibrating at a similar frequency as that person's layer, as that person. So what you are doing is you're kind of inviting the similar type of emotions, the similar type of events and experiences into your own layer. So this is why you have to be very careful about who you are interacting with and who you are giving your thought energy to. What kind of things are you watching on TV? What kind of things are you reading about? Because anything that you give your attention to, anything that you give your energy to is what you are inviting into your layer. Take for another example, you hear a news story about how a plane crashed in a different country. Say that you followed that news story all day because you were just completely, shook by what happened, how many people died. You feel so bad for the families of the people who died. You are deeply disturbed. Your inner peace has been disturbed by the event of what happened, about how cruel can the world be. Right now, you are in a layer where you were experiencing that event as just a witness. You weren't affected by the event at all, but you just witnessed it. By feeling the emotions of what maybe those victims' family members felt, you are inviting similar experiences into your life. You are inviting similar vibrations, emotions into your life. So your layer might have been amazing, right? You might have had an amazing day, but something in somebody else's layer, like the tragedy happened. By constantly feeding it with your thought energy, by constantly entertaining that event, you are inviting similar things to happen in your reality. Because again, your layer of reality is only limited to what you believe is possible for you. So if you start to feed your mind with all these negative things that are happening in the world, like the government is shutting down, or there are murders happening, the economy is failing somewhere, you are beginning to vibrate at similar frequencies as those events, as those layers of other people. And you are just inviting everything into your layer. So again, your perception shapes your layer, but what you input into your brain is what forms your perception. So if you don't want those types of events to happen to you, if you want your layer to be positive and amazing, be careful and be mindful of what you put into your brain. What do you experience on a day-to-day basis? What are the things that you are watching? What are the things that you are reading? How are you thinking? How are you feeling? Because if you want to transform your layer, you have to transform the way that you are, right? You don't have to change yourself. You just have to direct your thoughts in a different way. You have to start thinking positive things. Positive thinking isn't just a way to, ignore your problems and not do anything. It's an actual productive way to think. It's the only productive way to think. Because think about it, if you are thinking negative, if you are always cursing the world, you are just working against yourself, because that's what is forming your layer. That is what is inviting all these things to you. So what you think is what you are becoming. What you feel is what you are attracting into your layer. And what you imagine is what you are creating in your layer. So really be mindful of the energy that you are inviting into your layer, because that really impacts the way you experience the world and the experiences that you attract into your layer. Lastly, I want to say that the world is indifferent. The world is simply balanced, right? The world isn't good or bad. And it doesn't care if you have a good life or a bad life, because there is no such thing. It's simply just life. And you have the freedom of choice to live the life you want. Now, you might be saying, what about the people who are born in really bad areas, who are born to abusive parents, or parents who are poor? You might be born into a layer that is very negative. You might be born into a layer that is not, favorable to what you want. It's beyond us why we were born and what situation we were born in. But you can spend all day, you can spend all week, month, year just complaining about why you are in the situation that you are in. But that doesn't do anything. It doesn't take away from the fact that you have the ability, you have the freedom of choice to transform your layer. So if you are born into a layer that is not good, that is not positive, in which there is a lot of hardship, then it's not your fault, but it is your responsibility to transform it by the time you die. So if you die in the same kind of layer with all that negativity, hardship, then you truly never became conscious of your power to transform your layer. Take, for example, Oprah, who was born into the hardest life, a harder life than most of us ever even have to go throughout our entire life. And she faced such hardship in just like her first 13 years of life. So her life layer was very, very negative, very different than what it is now. So why did it change? Why is her life layer incredible now? Why is she living the life that she wants to live? It's because she became conscious of the fact that she has the ability to transform it. She changed her thoughts, she changed her beliefs, she changed her relationship to the world. And as a result of that, as a result of that consistency, that persistence, as a result of her truly transforming her own consciousness, the layer of her life also changed. And today she's living an amazing life. You have the same ability, you have the same power. Oprah didn't have any crazy powers that are, very different than what you have within you. You have the same thing, and all that remains now is for you to become conscious of that power. Just remember, your layer is only limited to what you believe to be true. Anything is possible in the world. You can do anything you want, you can be anyone you want, but your mind has to first believe in the possibility. So unless you truly believe that you have the power, unless you start to tap into the power that you have within, your layer can't change, and you will always be a victim of your circumstances. So let go of the complaining, let go of the blaming, start taking responsibility for your life, start taking responsibility for transforming your layer. That's all I have for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give me a thumbs up and share this with a friend who would also find it helpful. If you are feeling lost about the future, if you are feeling uncertain on how to create positive change, if you want to find your purpose and your path of greatest success and happiness, you can now work with me one-on-one. The link for that is in the description box below. Other than that, subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next video.